Hello everyone, we are here to do sort of a weird impromptu Dark Tower conversation show thing. I'm just a few hours fresh from seeing it, and you saw it a few days ago, just a couple days ago. You're pretty fresh as well.
I don't even know what day it is right now.
I think you saw it,
I saw it on Saturday.
3 or 4 days ago.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and in case you're wondering why we would care to do something like this, if you've followed us through podcasts or various videos and things like that, if you've gotten to know us, you know that we're, I wouldn't say we're like massive Dark Tower dorks that know like all the different details, but...
Well, we just spent the last 30 minutes trying to refresh ourselves since we read the books like 6 years ago, and turns out we forgot a lot of it.
But I do love these books. It is my favorite book series. I personally have read the whole series once, but I've reread the first like 3 or 4 books like probably 3 times. So yeah, I went back and listened to audiobooks too. That was actually part of it.
I just read them beginning to end.
Yeah.
You know?
No, I didn't like reread the first half, then reread them, and then read the rest. Like
you read the whole thing and then read.
Yeah, then you like life gets busy and you don't get to read the rest or whatever.
So what we're gonna do is we're gonna spoil the shit out of the movie and the books in the process, because we're gonna kind of compare the two, but also talk about why the movie is just bad.
Yeah, it's not good.
Not as a movie, not counting the books. Just we're gonna talk about the movie itself, and then a little bit about what it could have done if it had, thought about the books a little bit more.
Right. So I guess we'll try to have some sort of structure here. So if you're only interested in the movie and not interested in the books, or you're interested in reading the books but don't want to be spoiled on the books, we'll try to keep the conversation contained to just the film for at least a certain amount of time before we start talking about the books.
If you haven't read them and you haven't watched it and you're going to, then don't watch this video.
Okay,
but here's the thing. If you're looking at this video, you're not going to do either one of those.
Right.
At this point, you haven't read it and you haven't watched it, you're not going to.
I mean, it's very much like the horror movie marathons. I mean,
yeah.
You're either listening to those because you have seen those movies and you want to hear what we have to say about it, or you've never
seen like
watched
one
them.
of them.
Yeah.
I like I said, I was reading a lot of reviews where the reviewer was like, I read the first book in high school, 20 years ago, and I never read the rest.
Right.
So there's a lot of people who might have like dipped their toe into the Dark Tower, but haven't read the whole series. This is kind of like we'll fill in the rest for you.
You're right.
But if you're like don't know anything about it, just enjoy us shitting on the movie, I guess.
And so again, for context, this for me, the way I've continued to describe it to other people so they understand like why my reaction to this movie might be different than other movies is, for me, like I've been saying it's just my turn. It's my turn. Like, and what I mean by that is everybody has like a thing they love that eventually Hollywood does something with.
Once Jaws, the remake happens,
it'll be God. And like sometimes it works out really great, and sometimes it's your turn to eat a big bowl of shit. And in this case, I feel like it was my turn to eat a big bowl of shit. So anyway, it meant a lot to me to see what this movie is going to do, but the books are still there and they still exist. So, which I just started rereading again. And tried to tell him that that's a good way to get the blues out is actually rereading the books again.
I would say the biggest, these movies have been in development or are going to be made for years now, right? And so for many years it was just like, oh, hey, we're making Dark Tower. It's going to be 4 movies and 3 TV series and all these things. You're just like, yeah, believe it when I see it, right? And we finally get to this point where like, no, they're actually doing it. You're like, okay, fine, I can finally get excited. And then you're like, okay, I'm okay with Idris Elba, even though I would rather have had like Viggo Mortensen or Javier Bardem as the, Matthew McConaughey and all stuff. But okay, I'll let it go. And then, oh, there's no Eddie. Okay, well, all right, 7 books. There's no Susanna. Well, that's for the future, right? Okay, well, no, okay. And the TV show is going to be the prequel. All right. And what do we have? We got Jake. Okay, cool. That's going to happen, right? Oh, and also it has a lot of the 7th movie in it, or the 7th book. Oh, so it's not after the book. It's just, oh, okay, this is going to suck.
Yeah.
Like it progressed to a point where you were hoping it was like, this is just, we're going to condense the first couple of books, or the first one, maybe taking some stuff from the other. But then when I heard it was like, oh no, it has the stuff from the end.
Yeah. So it's funny enough, before Ron
Which I'm going to cut you off one more time too, because even a few months ago, the Stephen King and the director both mentioned like the Horn of Eld. So right off the bat, the biggest spoiler is the end of the book. He goes to the Dark Tower.
Wait, last chance, by the way.
Yeah, his
last chance.
one.
We're literally going to start talking about the end of the series.
You know, he goes through the Dark Tower at the very end, and it spits him back out however many years it was before. Like, how far back do you think that was?
Oh, years.
I mean, like decades.
Yeah, a long time.
To the big battle of like basically the start.
No, he wakes up in the middle of the desert in the first. In fact.
Oh, you're right. Okay, sorry. He wakes up back at the beginning of the first book.
Yeah.
But he has a new item with him that he didn't have the first time he went through, which is from a battle decades before.
Right.
Which was kind of like the first. This is where the world has finally turned.
Right.
Like after that battle, it was like it's a done deal. The gunslingers have lost. But this time he has the Horn of Eld with him. So you're like, oh, the whole point of Dark Tower is he's making this cyclical trip where every time he maybe has a new item that he didn't have the last time. And so Stephen King and the director were like, oh, the Horn of Eld's in the movie. So like this is a sequel to the Dark Tower books.
It's their way of sort of kind of get out of jail free card.
Yeah.
Where they can, if we change things, you can't get too angry about it because this is a different cycle.
But very specifically, the cycle being, I mean, most likely the next.
Right.
Like literally, this is a sequel. And then it was just...
Which was smart. I mean, It was a way of kind of saying like, okay, so there's big things that I'll expect, but I'll have to let go of the little things
and
if
the
there's
comic
changes.
I remember when the comic books came out, one of the things about the comics was it kind of led you on like, this might be a different... one of the different cycles. Because the comics don't tell...
Well, eventually the comic books...
got to the point where they were just retelling the books.
I was interested in doing a video on this, so if you're watching this and you think you might be interested in seeing a video on the Dark Tower comic books, I'd be interested in doing it, but only if people care.
Yeah.
But
and we missed the train on that one by
we kind of missed it, yeah. So most of those comic books actually are adapting like flashbacks or like history that's not really ever shown in the books, but eventually they got to a point where they are just adapting the novels.
And I remember when I was reading the beginning ones, I was like, this is leading to a point where I think this might be another cycle past the books, but then it got where it was just the books. But there are things about it that were like, okay, the movie could do this or that because this is the next cycle, and then none of that fucking mattered.
Right. So
that was where the hype got like, and then it came, and then the reviews and all the stuff, and it's like, oh, this is all fucking cop-out. It was all a bunch of bullshit from the beginning.
So I tried to keep an open mind. You know what's funny? Since we mentioned
are you going to tell me what's
how long it's been? Yeah, well, I don't know how funny it is. It's more sad than anything. But
everything about this is sad, even though I'm laughing.
Yeah, the overriding feeling here is just crushing kind of sadness and disappointment.
Because I was under the assumption for years that it would just never really get done.
Right.
So when it does get done and it sucks, it's crushing because you're like, oh man, I really wish they could make a good Dark Tower movie. They never do. That's better than they do, and it sucks.
It's kind of it, you know. I mean, who knows? Maybe somebody will do something with it, but it's going to be a long ass time before anybody like steps out to the plate. I was going to say before Ron Howard got involved with this whole thing, J.J. Abrams and like what's his face, Lindelof that was like the thing they wanted to do. You know, before you do that, apparently he worked on a show called The Leftovers. Everybody keeps talking about HBO. That's supposed to be really good, but I haven't watched it. Anyway, point being, they started working on it, and then they got Stephen King's blessing and the whole nine, and then they were like, we don't want to fuck this up.
I will say this: been through, read enough of his books and watch enough of his adaptations. His blessing, I'm going to be like the James Cameron thing here. His blessing doesn't mean shit.
No, it doesn't. Not
it
at all.
really doesn't.
No, it really doesn't.
So when he says something, oh, it's great. Like, okay, I watched Under the Dome, the TV show. I read the book first. The blessing. It was okay, but man,
I thought the show was incredibly boring.
And I don't blame you for thinking that it's terrible and bad TV. But for someone who read the book, it was cool to see some of it. But if I was to, I would never recommend that to anybody.
Right.
So that's Stephen King's blessing. It's like James Cameron saying, oh, Terminator Genesis is really doing great for the franchise.
And he also made it Maximum Overdrive, so, you know.
No Lindelof, no J.J. Abrams, which was like, yay! And then I thought Ron Howard would be really the driving force that would get this done. Like, with everyone else in Hollywood and budgets and all that stuff, like, his name being attached would be the thing that would actually get this done. And then, of course, he didn't end up being around, right?
Well, he was still part.
But I mean, his name isn't on it, you know.
No, he didn't technically work on it, but his partner, Akiva Golds.
So let's just get to the most successful bad writer in Hollywood.
Yeah.
This is Transformers. Like, first of all, when you're the writer of a Transformers movie, I mean, did you do anything at all?
I don't actually know what else he's done. I know that it's.
I've already forgotten, but I looked at his IMDb and I was like, oh. Blockbuster,
Yeah.
but terrible.
Yeah. So I actually read not the script, but like a review of the script.
Right, not
like
the movie itself, the script.
Right,
yeah.
but from what I understand, this movie is actually pretty much representative of it. And even back then, you were looking at it, and you're like, you're combining a lot of the different book, like
right. That when the story started getting out that it was not going to
Right.
be this or that, and you started hearing like what it actually was, and you're thinking like, that's probably not the best direction.
So we still try to keep an open mind because, okay, Horneveld and New Time Around, okay, fine. So let's actually talk about the movies. Because
Yes.
there's things beyond just changes to the book that make this not a good movie. So,
Well, I'm gonna get to the first complaint, which this is separated from books. It's way too fucking short.
and also feeling too long. Like, I felt bored during the movie multiple times. But
I can't say that. I know what you mean, but I can't say that. I feel like every single scene was just, no one ever sat down and talked. And like,
see, I think by virtue of not having a longer running time, they're forced to have more scenes just be like info dumps and exposition and just scenes that are boring and they're not fun to watch, like interactions between characters or character development, like or anything like that,
Right.
or building tone or building tension.
but see, I'm saying building tone is it. If they'd made the same exact movie, it still wouldn't have been good in the eyes of the book versus the movie. But if they'd just add 10 minutes to the movie, but don't actually add any new scenes, just let the scenes that are there take a little more time, or have a little bit like there's a scene with when he finds the mom's ashes and they finally, Roland and Jake become best buds and hug. It's just forced. It's not. He didn't earn it. But if they'd spent a little bit more time, maybe telling the story about when he was a kid and what he went through, which they changed Roland's past and how his dad died, and they never even talked about his mom, did they?
No.
So Jake's mom dies. The Man in Black burns her alive, and he finds her burnt ashes, no body. In the book, Roland's mom killed his dad after being tricked by the Man in Black, and Roland has to kill his mom, which he has a really the relationship between him and his mom in the book is like
Right.
this. That broke him.
That's what the whole, if you read The Wind Through the Keyhole, which is the book that Stephen King wrote way after the fact, that's sort of kind of a prequel in a lot of ways. but-
Posthumously, or
yeah,
how do you say that word?
it's really strange. But that's part of the thematics of that book are him coming to terms with his mother. It's just really cool.
I like that story a lot.
I love that book.
I don't know why, but my favorite books are Wizard and Glass and Wind Through the Keyhole.
Yeah, you like the stuff that's folksy and
Roland's
older
growing and everything.
Yeah.
But so that huge thing in Roland's life, the thing that really made him start his journey for the Man in Black, really came from that situation. Same thing kind of happens to Jake, and never could be like, oh, hey, I went through this. Come here, whatever. I see myself in you. Just nope.
Yeah.
Roland's dad dies because Matthew McConaughey just says, stop breathing.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah, it's pretty anticlimactic. Movie feels really small. Just very claustrophobic and not... I feel like it should have been sweeping and like the way you think of like Lord of the Rings, where you have like big helicopter shots like going over like large expanses, and
like there's the desert, but you really only see it like...
But it's not even really a desert. Like
it's
you're
like 10 seconds.
You're in a canyon now, and that looked kind of cool. But they're only up there for like a minute, and then now they're in a forest. And
I'm like, why are they walking on a big rocky cliff if they want to go that way?
Yeah.
I don't know, whatever.
It just felt like even New York felt very flat and just not. I'm talking now about like just the cinematography, I guess, and just the how nothing.
Oh, how dark is this movie?
It's very dark.
This goes back to our Resident Evil complaint and something else where you can't visually see anything.
The scene where the demon kind of comes through and then chases Jake through the Pennywise, whatever. I was really hard to see. I couldn't even barely tell what was going on. The movie seems more interested in winking and nodding at the other stage. So if you don't know this about the Dark Tower books, Dark Tower is sort of like the series that ties a lot of Stephen King's other books together. Not in like people are treating it like this Marvel Universe thing, and it's really not. It's a lot more subtle than that. It's actually...
It kind of takes the point that Stephen King's writing throughout all the decades is that actually everything that's been written is in one, not shared universe, but they're in parallel universes, and the Dark Tower is a story about how there's multiple parallel universes of like different Earths and things like that.
I think beyond that, it's more just like everything. I mean, when you get to Wolves of the Kala and you have these bad guys that are a mix of like Doctor Doom with like lightsabers from Star Wars.
Oh, I forgot about
and the Sneeches from Harry Potter, it's sort of meant to suggest that really all fantasy and all things kind of exist within the scope of the tower. At least that's the way that I took it.
Yeah, but I take it as like, so one of the things in the movie is the beam quake. Like they have a beam quake in mid-Earth, and Jake goes, "Oh, we have those on Earth. They're called earthquakes," which, you know, and he goes, "Oh, what happens here reverberates in other worlds and universes or parallel universes." So the idea that like there's a lot of crossover between them, but only this mid-world Dark Tower book is the one that's kind of sort of like Salem's Lot has nothing to do with, say, Christine. Well, I guess those are all on Earth, though.
Yeah.
It could be just like a different Earth. But basically, none of the Stephen King's books ever interact with each other. Dark Tower goes, "Oh, I interact with all of you."
Right.
But none of those interact with each other.
Right.
So it's not a shared universe like Marvel,
And
but it's...
I kind of feel like almost they did that because like it's getting a lot of, I know you've had different opinions, but you know that a lot of other people have like a lot of positive buzz for this. And I feel like they saw that and they're kind of like, hey, like we're kind of a part of that a little bit.
Like if this did good, to be like, let's start adapting more Stephen King stuff and then leading with one into the other.
Right.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of it, the book. It's actually my favorite book.
Yeah.
I think there's some stuff in there that's just amazing that can never be in a movie. And I like the made-for-TV movie. And
Child orgies.
Yes. And the new one just looks like a generic, not generic, more like The Conjuring.
Yeah.
Like a good scary movie, but not...
Well, you know that the first guy, the Cary Fukunaga, was the guy that was making it originally. Okay, well, we won't talk about it.
We won't talk about it.
Dark Tower.
But one of the things I tweeted out was like, I'm afraid Dark Tower doing bad and being representative of Stephen King work is going to hinder it.
Yeah, I mean, that's my main thing. Most of what I really wanted to get across talking was that the people that have never read the books or you've thought about it or maybe you don't have the time or whatever, and then you watch this movie, it's like, I was telling my fiance that, because she's a big fan of the books too, that if you ever had a friend, or not even a friend, like a dick, you know, that took something that was like pretty complex and nuanced that you enjoyed, or like an outlook on life or politics or literally anything, and then just like reduced it to like, oh, all that is this, like that. Yeah. That's what this movie feels like for the Dark Tower book series for me. And so I'm scared that people are going to watch this and just think like, oh, it's just this generic young adult good guys versus bad guys, good versus evil thing, and it's not. Well, it's so much more than that.
It's the same thing about how Stephen King gets pitted as like this, he's this horror writer, demons and all this shit. Like I think he was on The Simpsons once, and it was like a joke, like he starts talking, it becomes very demonic and like the clouds come over. But if you know Stephen King's writings, like yes, it's always some kind of monster or whatever, but that's not his focus is character, really. It's these long stories that let you really get invested in the characters.
Yeah.
And so he's not always about, I mean, Dark Tower is really not about any real monsters. It's about Roland and Jake and their story trying to save the universe, I guess what you would call it. There are monsters in it.
Yeah.
But there's no, it is, you know, Pennywise the Clown is not this foreboding thing. So, yeah, it's going to just make another like, oh, Stephen King, horror writer, Dark Tower, I saw the movie, I don't want to read those books. It's like, no, the books are so much better.
Is they built this whole thing in between the antagonism, I don't know if that's a word, I'm
just gonna mix up words right now.
Yeah, like the rivalry between Roland and Walter O'Dim. When
Randall Flagg.
When in the books, it's like it's there, but it's not like. That's not what the books are about.
There's only one time they ever really sit down and talk to each other.
Yeah, and they don't fucking fight. They sit down and talk. Okay, we'll talk about the books, I guess, in a minute. But
because they're both going the same place. It's just that he's in front of him.
Yeah.
And he's chasing him to kill him, but also the same thing.
It's more complicated than just like good guys and bad guys.
All right, so the movie starts out with Jake.
Also, the action sucks. I don't think it's great. I won't say it sucks, but bouncing bullets off things and the Matrix like slow-mo reloading thing in midair, none of that does anything for me. Sliding along on the ground, none of this means anything to me.
Okay, so
but the reloading trick was cool.
Half of the reloading shit was cool. The other half was stupid. Some of it was okay. The big shoot at the end, which we'll get to, is the one where I'm like, oh, it could have been done this way. This would have shown, you know, whatever. So, okay, let's just start. Finally,
about the books.
No, the movie.
Oh, the movie.
Open with Jake. Jake's having dreams. Jake has the Danny.
He's a special psychic boy.
No. He has
Shining.
Yes, but
Shine.
I was gonna say he's Danny. Why can't I remember the last name from The Shining?
Oh, I don't remember. Danny. I don't remember.
What is their last name?
I don't know. I forget. I don't know.
Jack and Danny.
Moving on.
Oh my gosh, this is terrible. Overlook Hotel. They literally, so this is the movie, not the book, that we're just going to say, they literally refer to it as The Shine.
Yeah.
He has The Shining. This isn't like a wink and a nod. He has The Shining.
Again, very, very like base level. Like we don't trust in that this mythology is interesting enough on its own that we want to like pull, be like, this is connected to this other thing that you know about.
Right.
And that's it. So Jake is a special psychic boy who has dreams about Midworld, where Roland lives, about the tower, about the man in black trying to tear the tower down.
Yeah.
And everybody thinks he's crazy, his mom and his shitty stepdad. And
teenage angst with the stepdad.
yeah, which again is a total reduction of what his actual thing is. But
this is where the young adultness, like a Divergent or a Hunger Games comes from.
Their like angle for this, which is not the books again, not the books at all, not the books, was a young adult from the perspective of a teen boy, which was like, oh, we've seen movies do that before, so let's do that. So that's what they did. Anyway, so Special Psychic Boy, and Special Psychic Boy, knows all these things, but it's crazy, and it turns out he's right. And
well, they're gonna send him to a facility to help him.
They're not gonna send him. He's been recruited by by the boogeymen, essentially.
When they come to take him, he realizes they're the monsters from his dreams, and he runs away, and they fucking like chase him up the roof, and they're like, "Whoa, these aren't regular people!" And
so he gets away, and part of it, when in his vision, he sees a house, and so it's a house in Brooklyn. So he goes to that house.
Which really, again, reminds me. I don't know if this was. I remember in the book there was a house like this, right?
Yeah.
This happens. I feel
there's a whole thing where he has a split personality. This is like a major part of the third book. Where him and Roland
are sharing memories and they're crazy.
And it's complicated. It has to do with like.
Well, I was gonna say there's a house
timelines.
There's a house in the book that has the same kind of like old beaten down house they go into that really fucks with them.
Right.
And it's kind of like not a haunted house, like
same
the
here.
floor moving and things like that, which I remember kind of being.
I think there might be a connection there.
Yeah.
So he goes there, and there is is it North Central Positronics? I think is what it's called.
It sounds about right.
Which is it's a thing in Dark Tower. Whatever. It's kind of very Fallout-esque, actually.
Oh, yeah, totally.
And there's a portal there.
Well, because in Roland's world, the idea that like there's this old technology that was there before us.
Yeah.
And no one knows how to... Well, they kind of know how to use it, but it's not
really, the world that Roland lives in is like our own, that has gone so far beyond. It's like magic and post-apocalyptic both at the same time. So there are things that are the same, that look like a future version of Earth, while not looking like Earth at all. So
he finds a thing, puts the code in.
Yeah, he puts a code in. It's another number he saw in his dreams, because his dreams just give him everything. And now he's in Midworld. And oh shit, there's Idris Elba. And
that's what he says. He gets
says,
out.
Oh shit. And the first thing he says is like, wait a minute, aren't cowboys white? That's what he says when he meets him. No, that's not what he says. And then so Roland's like, who the fuck are you? Are you one of Man in Black's tricks? And no, you're in my dream. And
here's a picture I drew of you.
Here's a picture I drew of him. So at this point, we learned that Roland is not on a quest to find the Dark Tower. Roland is just simply on a quest to kill the Man in Black as revenge for killing his father. And that's it. That's as simple as it gets. So
no backstory. Nope. Like, I think the dad scene comes in a little bit after that. Maybe before, whatever.
A little bit later.
It's the Allstate Insurance, or it's the president from 24.
Right.
And they do the I don't shoot with my eye, I shoot with that whole fucking thing, but they say like over and over and over again, and then there's no shootout at all. It's just over.
Yeah, they kind of
sorry. He shoots Matthew McConaughey in the back of the head, and he just goes like this, and he grabs the bullet in midair, and is like, "You can't kill me."
Yeah, it's because he's resistant to his magics.
Yeah,
or whatever
magics,
he says.
plural.
Yeah, it's really bad. Okay, so now Jake is along for the ride. He finds out about the place that Jake has been seeing in his dreams. It's just like a facility where other special psychic children are taken to help destroy the tower. Their psychic energy is used to destroy the tower. And the Man in Black, Matthew McConaughey's character is like Darth Vader on Death Star.
So in the book, there is like that camp the kids, and they hook them up into chairs. Well, in the movie, they hook them up into chairs, and they use their shine power, but like the machine like extracts it out of them. Like it kind of...
Yeah, it's like a painful experience. Yeah.
Which is not the way it is in the book. But it's like a facility with like people running computers and the guy there, whatever.
Yeah.
And Matthew McConaughey shows up, like he said, kind of like Darth Vader showing up on the Death Star, like, hey guys, I'm in charge here. What's going on? You know?
Yeah, and he's like force choking people, but instead he's like, burning them. You know, he's basically Darth Vader.
You look at this and go like, what is the societal like? Are you the boss? Are you a hitman?
Everybody
for
just
them?
follows him. He's the boss, and there's not really like any. I can't even imagine how confusing this must have been for people that didn't know anything about the books watching this. Like,
but that's the part is if you read the books, this still makes no fucking sense because this is not. It's too structured like this is a business with employees. The Midworld's supposed to be just like this place. It's just like there's like a town over there. There's monsters everywhere in between, killing and eating anything they see. There's some people over here. But this is like, all right, I gotta come to work at 9:35. I'll see you tomorrow, Bob. Like, what the fuck is this thing?
Yeah, and
And that's just the movie being not explanatory or interesting.
Because they tried to shove every goddamn thing in the world in 95 minutes.
He's got orbs that he can use at his desk.
Yeah, that's a whole the crystal balls. That's a whole thing. That's really important.
They feel like the Infinity Stones, and they're just
the. Yeah. It's a thing he uses. Whatever. Okay.
He has some other stuff in his. It's just the way he shows up, and he's wearing his suit as if like, hey guys, I'm back from the job I was on. How's everything going? Like, no, the Man in Black is supposed to be this mysterious figure that actually is in a lot of Stephen King's works. He's the bad guy in The Stand.
Yeah.
I don't think he's in it, but like he's referred like it could almost be inferred that Pennywise the clown is kind of like another version of what you would see the Man in Black in different universes. He's just in this movie. He's literally just like a thug.
Yeah, he just like does one-liners. He cooks chicken. It's really weird because it's not his fault because it's the script, but like Matthew McConaughey sucked. Like it was not Walter O'Dim. Like the Man in Black is like mysterious, spooky. Like you don't know ever know what he's doing or why he's doing it.
He should be like Joaquin Magar, the guy from Game of Thrones that can change the face.
Yeah.
Right? Like literally will be anywhere as a different person. You don't know.
Mixed with like Littlefinger, who's just like, he's just constantly...
Yes. But in this one, it's just literally Matthew McConaughey wearing a black suit.
Right.
There's nothing, no depth to it. Know that he's like I was like, I want to call him Randall Flagg because that's his character from The Stand, right? No, he's literally just Walter, the Man in Black. There's nothing else interesting about him.
So Roland sees that he can use Jake to find where this facility is, or more specifically, find the Man in Black and kill him. Right. So he uses Jake. I'm going to skip over some shit because none of this shit mattered. Through various means, they find a portal back to the real world. Because that's where he can get to the Man in Black. And then the bad guys kidnap Jake because he's special psychic kick that's so special and psychic that he can knock the tower down in one hit. So now, in addition to killing the Man in Black, he's got a mission of saving Jake, I guess. Yeah. So he goes through, he fights a whole bunch of guys, big gun battle that wasn't that impressive to me, but did like make me mad that there wasn't a really, really cool Roland Deschain gunslinger.
So are you talking about the Dixie Pig?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is when they have Jake, they put him in the chair, and they turn the machine on, and it's like, okay, here, like you said, like there was one shot, we're gonna destroy the whole fucking thing. Like we've been working at this for like, years and years and years, but no, we got Jake, it's all done. Like, right? And he's going back to get him, and he goes into a big room with 4 or 5 dozen bad guys who all have automatic machine guns, whatever. And he's behind a pillar, and he's got his guns, and he has bullet loops on, so he knows there's gonna be a lot of reloading. And of course, in the book, there's very much like he reloads his guns so fast that it's mind-boggling.
Yeah, they're revolvers. You only get 6 shots apiece.
Yeah.
So
the whole thing is like it always goes about how fast you can do this. So when you they're making a movie, they're gonna have to show that. And okay, I'll admit they do the thing where he flips the bullets in. It's pretty cool.
It was cool.
But then he starts catching 6 at a time in the air, going sideways.
Fuck you, movie. Fuck you and your slow motion Matrix nonsense that does not belong in a Dark Tower movie.
But there's one where his belt has individual bullet slots, and he rolls the revolver, and there are some that are good, but a lot of them was like when he's just like clicking them in.
Yeah.
There's just
how did that work?
Yeah.
Show me.
But what I wanted to see was when he's behind that pillar and he's all armed up and he's ready to go, and they're shooting, and he's like thinking, and he's hearing. I wanted to see him come behind that thing instead of doing literally the Matrix lobby scene, was like, do. I wanted to see him John Wick it. I wanted to see him shoot 12 bullets and see 12 guys go down.
Right.
You know, I wanted to see him shoot 12 more guys.
Because
12 more guys.
Done.
Yes, absolutely.
Like, I mean, Roland
Sorry,
is
my
the
nose
original
is really itchy
John,
right now, so I was gonna like.
Roland Shane is the original John Wick. Like, and the way those action scenes were described in the books, that is what it was. It was like every bullet found a mark, and that was
because you could have done like one good like master shot wide where you kind of just see him like dance between two pillars. Take out 12 guys, take out 12 more, take out 12 more, and have it be quick. But instead it was a slow motion, him shooting near the camera, and then the camera cutting to a guy falling down.
Yeah.
And you don't get to see him shoot anybody except for like the close range guy and the close range guy. And this is the culmination action shot. And this is the O shot of the movie, right? Like, and it's just yeah.
I thought you know what I thought was much more closer to what I would have wanted to see was the final shootout in Django, like the him like in the plantation, like where the bullets are like and it's just like
they're fucking cannonballs. It's just the
and like
blood,
everything's falling because it was.
And let's not forget PG-13.
Yeah.
So that's one big thing. So the PG-13 is just I don't need it to be bloody and gory and like heads flying off, but I want to see him shoot the gun and see the bad guy in the same shot go down.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to even have the squirt. It just needs to be like impact down, impact down. But this was just.
I just wanted something more realistic. Like honestly, that's why.
Let's not forget when he jumps over the balcony and then with.
Yeah, he's a super soldier. Which he is a super soldier. He has superpowers. He heals faster now.
Oh, he's Wolverine. Yeah,
and he's
Logan.
stronger than others too.
Yeah.
He's not just a guy that's awesome like in the books and eventually gets really old and starts getting broken down. He's just a super soldier.
This is my face.
So
I was watching it going like, okay, we'll get a good action scene out of this. It'll be beautiful. It'll be the thing that if I ever watch this again, I'm just going to watch this part. And I'm in the theater by myself, and I'm just like, it's over.
Yeah.
It literally, again, short. Not only is the movie short, but every individual scene is short. There's not enough time to do anything interesting in any one particular scene. If one scene had been drawn out and been really good and the rest sucked, but no, not any one scene was good.
So after he shoots all the people, he fights the final boss. And so it's...
After he levels up with the vitamins and the soda.
Right, yeah.
Because that's humor.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah.
He drinks soda and he feels better than he's felt in years.
Yeah. So it's bullets versus magic. What's gonna win, magic or bullets? Well, in one corner with the bullets, he shoots them really fast and really accurately, but he can also bounce them. He can bounce the bullets off things, which is impossible. He can bounce the bullets. I was waiting for him to curve a bullet.
Oh God! I'm glad that.
I was looking at the director did a Reddit Q&A.
AMA.
Huh?
AMA.
Okay.
Ask me anything.
Oh, sure. Yeah, one of those. And
one of those.
At one point, somebody was like, "Oh, I'm a little bit worried with the things I've seen in the trailer. Is he gonna like curve a bullet?" And he's like, "No, don't worry about it. No bullet curving here. Just bullet bouncing. Just bullet bouncing."
He aims with his eye.
Well, you're supposed to aim with your eye, yes.
Okay, so he can aim with his eye, so that's why he can do that, and he kills with his heart, so that it can.
It's stupid. I hated it.
I will say that. So Matthew McConaughey's playing the Neo. Bullets. I'm just gonna. Roland shoots the glass, and the glass falls down, and he goes, both hands, because I guess when you need your magic power, you need to use both hands. Because you get stronger, right? You don't just use your brain, you use your hands.
His magics.
All the magics is in the heart, but the hands help push the magic out to catch the other stuff and then throw it with the He catches all the glass, and he's like, ooh, like he's gonna form it into a shape. It just throws the glass. Roland gets hit with a piece of big rock and lays down.
So this is how he beats him. So
okay. I will give credit. I was like, how is he going to beat?
Two bounces.
Okay, the bouncing. Okay, no. The ricocheting is bullshit. But the idea of the thing with his hand kind of.
Again, I'm not hating the movie.
But again, it goes back to like, is the hands where the magic's at? Because if he thinks it's going to end here, isn't he just protected with magic from like?
Yeah.
So go ahead and.
No, that's it. See, He shoots one bullet
While he's saying the slogan,
the gunslinger prayer, and then so Walter catches. I don't remember what happens. He bounces two bullets off of each other.
He shoots at Walter, and Walter puts his hand up to catch the bullet. Okay, so the hand goes out to catch the incoming bullet, and he shoots another bullet that bounces off a thing, and then the two bullets collide, which then changes the trajectory of the bullet because it bounces and it hits him in the shoulder, which later on it shows it's like way over here, but it maybe barely got him. So I guess your magics only work if you have your hand in front of the thing that you want to magic.
Yeah.
It doesn't work if it's like...
You have to know it's coming.
It's not... The hand, the radius doesn't go, so the bullet can go...
You would thought since he just tells people to stop breathing and to catch on fire and to hate, he could just say, stop, bullet.
Tell a bullet what
bullets,
to
you
do.
stop. You stop, bullets. Okay,
and then Roland just says pow, 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 and then one right in the forehead.
Right.
And then he's just the Man in Black, the titular character that is like, even though the Crimson King is the bad guy in all of Dark Tower, all the minions, all the bad people are always servants of the Crimson King, who you never really meet until the very, very end, and it's very like, it's anticlimactic, but in a good way, because what happened to the Crimson King is he got stuck.
Yeah.
He's stuck on a balcony somewhere and cannot get down, and he's just been fucking angry for decades up here because I can't get down. It's actually funny. In this one, you never see him or anything, so McConaughey being the only really bad guy, just, I'm dead now, I guess.
Yeah. Which, of course, probably isn't, but it's...
Oh, the end of the credits, there's no after scene, but there's a whistle. And then I think they just I read an interview today with the director saying, like, he's not really dead.
Yeah.
Which... What the fuck is the point? Did he just pass out from the bullets? Oh, this is too much. I gotta just take a nap.
He's a magician. I don't know. I mean, in the first book, after they're done palavering, Roland wakes up and there's a skeleton next to him, which he assumes is...
But it could just be the body that he was in... Yeah, but that doesn't fucking...
All right, so then he shoots the restraints on Jake's chair that's holding him down. And Jake's like, oh, good.
Oh, also, and the whole time Jake was so strong that he was just resisting the machine.
Right.
And he was holding the portal open for Roland to come in because his shine is so strong.
He's such a
pure.
Special,
it's so pure.
He's such a special psychic boy. And so...
He's a good actor.
I actually didn't mind
he did a good
A lot
job.
of people have been complaining about the kid. If this kid, and I don't know how you feel about it, but if this kid and Idris Elba had been in the movie that I would have wanted, I would have accepted this.
Absolutely.
I thought it was good. Matthew McConaughey, I don't know. I would have to see, because what he brought to it was weird.
He played McConaughey.
It was strange.
The Man in Black, when you think of a magician, you think of like a creepy magician who's like, sleight of hand.
Yeah.
McConaughey is very in your face.
Yeah.
Magician's very much like, I didn't really do that.
Yeah.
He wasn't artsy enough.
Too much pizzazz with his like fucking shirt open and like, I don't know, it was weird.
Hey, just looking good,
Yeah, one-liners, dropping one-liners, magics.
I think his interpretation is fine in another story.
Yeah.
But he's not the man. The movie's different. It's not the book, but it's a disservice to what it could.
Right.
He would have been better if he had played it differently.
So then he shoots
the machine.
The machine, and it's kind of like the Death Star.
Yeah. He shot the vent, and the bullet went down the vent, and the thermos just... Yeah. And they walked through the portal back to New York.
And it's just this whole thing that looks like it's about as big... the place is huge.
It's like a pyramid.
It's like a pyramid, yeah. And the whole thing just like...
I feel like when it explodes, though, it didn't seem as big. It seemed like maybe like a 10-story pyramid.
Then they go get hot dogs.
Which, Roland's like, oh, you're eating dogs. You're disgusting.
So you guys are savages.
What breed?
Yeah.
What breed is this?
Yeah. And then he's like, hey, your parents are dead.
Oh, I told my wife about that one. It's like, she goes, well, they're supposed to make a bunch more, right? And I said, well, obviously this isn't going to make any money. Like, this is probably going to just, we're done, right? And, we're going ahead with the TV show. And no, you're not. This is done. Unless somehow the audience retains 100% next weekend, this movie is done. The series is done. But it's Jake being all like, I guess our adventure's over. I'm sad. And Roland goes, well, hey.
Hey there, gunslinger.
Yeah.
Hey there,
he literally talks to him like he's a child, like a 5-year-old going, hey, buddy, you want to be my deputy?
Yeah.
The kid's not a toddler.
Right.
But, I mean, I have kids, and that's how I would talk to my 5-year-old. And he'd be like, yay, daddy, I want to be sheriff, but this kid's like 13.
Yeah.
apropos of nothing, apropos, whatever that word is.
Apropos.
Sorry. There's a guy at work that used to use it as a fake name, and he said it differently. Here's a 30-second scene of them looking at each other saying, hey, there's nothing here. You want to go with me? Okay, portal.
Yeah.
Nothing like, no build up, no nothing. They literally just like, hey, like high five, and then run into a portal back to Midworld.
Right.
And that's it. That's over. Done.
Okay, so.
No ending. No actual like, well, I still have to go to the other beams and the other things and I mean, at this point, the world's saved, right?
I guess so.
I mean, he killed the pyramid.
Yep, that's it.
The Man in Black is supposed to be dead. What other adventures does he have left to?
They gotta go find the rest of the quartet that you don't know what that is because they never talked about it in the movie. So this movie is no better or worse than The Sorcerer's Apprentice, or Percy Jackson and the Olympians, or Jumper, or
I don't even know what that one is.
I'm just trying. Aragon, or the Golden Compass, or any other young adult fantasy thing that you can think of. But the Dark Tower book series is.
Oh, did we forget Rorschach?
That's right. Yeah,
he's completely underutilized, and he fights. And also, he's really good fighter that can jump out of like a 7-story window into a bus, and it doesn't hurt him.
They just needed something to do for him.
And then the bad CGI, which that was atrocious.
Yeah.
The special effects were bad for that scene. So okay, let's get into.
Let's actually talk about like why, not so much is it a bad movie, but why it's actually a sin. This movie is like a sin against like the books, like why it's actually like why Dark Tower fans are reacting so vehemently to it.
I mean, like I said, you text me afterwards. It's like, separating yourself from the book is how's the movie, and it's just, again, you kind of summed it up with the young adult thing, but just like it's so short that anyone who didn't read the books and saw the movie or wanted to see the movie, maybe get into it, there's no meat. Take away the action scenes aren't that great, the characters have no depth. It's not a bad movie. It's serviceable. It's mediocre. But we're talking mediocre in something that's like literally people on death row and old ladies used to write stories to Stephen King saying, I'm not going to live long enough. Can you tell me how it ends?
Right. People have been following the story for like over 30 years.
Oh, yeah. Like with 20-something years between the first one and the last one, something like that. Like this is one of the largest, biggest literature turned into a movie, not just like, oh, there's that book that guy wrote, like Blade Runner is a book in a movie. And like, okay, whatever. It doesn't matter. No one cares about Philip K. Dick that much. Stephen King is still in the lexicon of popular culture, and this is his biggest thing.
Yeah.
And this is what you give it.
This is magnum opus.
I was going to say that, but I mean, I don't know. He might still do something that's...
Oh, yeah, I guess that's true.
I mean, he's not done yet, so you never know. But this is the culmination of like 30 years of work, and it's just...
There's things that are insane. Like, Roland, the whole fucking book, like the whole series, literally, it's inspired by the poem "To the Dark Tower Roland came." Right. Ye child Roland to the Dark Tower came. I think that's what it's called.
Yeah.
And it's literally about a knight on a quest for the Dark Tower, taking that simple concept and extrapolating it to like this massive thing about what would a knight do? What would a knight be willing to sacrifice?
How far would he go?
How far would that knight go in pursuit of the Dark Tower, a la the Fountain of Youth, so like whatever.
Speaking of that way, like the biggest difference here is that in this movie, the Man in Black and the Crimson King, they're assaulting the Dark Tower and want to destroy it, which will. In the book, there's a whole thing about in the darkness outside of the universe, there's these monsters, and it's very Lovecraftian because there's no describing what these monsters are, but there's it's a feeling of dread. It's crazy cool. It's really cool how they do it in the book. This one's just, here's the universe, bubble, here's a dome, and outside the dome is darkness and monsters. And if you destroy the Dark Tower, the dome falls and the monsters can come in. So we don't want the monsters in here. So they want the monsters in and we don't. So let's protect the Dark Tower. As if like it's a castle or it's like Helm's Deep. And you're like, we got to protect it from the bad guys. But that's, in the book, everything that's happened to Roland, everyone who's ever known or loved is dead, and he's suffered, and his whole fate is to suffer. And when you get to the end, you realize he just does it again and again. How many times will he do this?
It's a story of purgatory
Yeah.
about letting go. It's about
or righting the wrongs of the way he thinks he's supposed to act versus like he lets Jake die in the book, the first one.
Which is a massive thing. It's so huge. That's such an important fucking point to make because that was my number one thing. I'm like, is he gonna let Jake drop? Is he gonna let Jake? If you're gonna do the Horn of Eld thing, or like this time he doesn't let it, I'm like, you're being tricky. You're being tricky. You better make up for it some other way.
He chooses to chase after the Man in Black and let Jake die because it's might not be able to. I can't do both, and well, I got to go this way. And sorry, Jake. But then he comes to a realization that was a bad choice, and Jake comes back later, and he realizes he loves this kid, and he will do anything to protect him. And then Jake saves Steve. If you haven't read the book, Stephen King is in the book as the person who writes the book. It's fucking
weird. And Dark Tower is weird. The book series are weird.
Yes.
And I can't think of anything like just a film studio, especially just the way that this whole thing broke down. There was no way they were going to look at it like, how do we make this less weird? How do we make it less weird?
He writes himself into the story saying that he has to live to write the story because the story of Roland is going through him, and by him writing it is what makes it real. It's the one part of the book that you're like, I don't think this should have been in the book.
Into it.
But it's great.
I was into it.
Obviously, you can't have it. You just cut it out of the movie, whatever.
Yeah.
Jake saves him, and he writes about how he was going to get hit by a car because Stephen King actually got hit in real life by a car and almost died, and it changed the way he thought and lived and wrote whatever. So Jake sacrifices himself to save Stephen King, and it destroys Roland. And like you were talking about while reading the book at our old job in the little booth, like just tears streaming.
This book fucked me up.
Yeah.
Real good. Real good.
And Jake dies a total of 3 times. Like he dies in New York to end up in Midworld.
That's right.
Dies in Midworld, comes back to Midworld, and then dies again.
Right.
And I think that having Jake never suffer an injury in the movie, I get it, you change it, whatever, but I think like had you had a scene where when he was running away in New York, he runs into traffic and a car hits him, and it becomes this really like, I'm using the word like a lot, like I'm a Valley girl, but if it became this thing where onlookers see it and everyone's shocked and there's a child and someone goes help him and he's dying and it's this like, beautiful passing of it could have been done in a really beautiful way. You know, death is bad, but you could have done something there to make you really, as a viewer, like, and then he shows up in Midworld.
Yeah.
None of that. Just, I push buttons on a wall and there I am.
Yeah.
And then nothing bad ever happens to me after that.
Here are the things that are true.
Because like you said, it's a bad thing, but as you're reading the book, you're like, I'm crying.
Yeah.
Because it's so impactful, you know?
Yeah.
Especially as a father, I would have probably just started bawling in the theater and been like, you know, like, good job, you fucked with my emotions, but like a rival fucked with my emotions.
Yeah.
But I give it credit for doing it in a way. Well, you could have done it here, but whatever.
The Dark Tower is, these are the things that I feel like you can't fuck with. They're just a part of it, and if you don't do these things, you're not doing the series any kind of justice. One is that it's a mix of genres.
Yeah.
Again, something that probably gave the studio and the director just like fits of headaches, like, because what is this movie? Well, it's a Western, and it's also a fantasy series, and it's also a science fiction series, and it's also a horror series, and it's also a crime series, and it's also like a romance, and it's also a family drama. There's lots of things that it is. It's all of those things, and it can't not be any of those things. That's
you can
fucking
cut parts of the story out, but the themes still need to show through and everything.
Also, PG-13. Now, I've heard people complain about this. They said there's no reason they couldn't do this series as PG-13. Now, I just started rereading the first book again, and there's an overarching, permeating sense of depression and bleakness around all of it, where kids have their eyes that are growing out the side of their head, and women are just hoping that this guy will fuck them so they can feel something, you know, and there's guys that are addicted to drugs like heroin addicts, and it's dark.
Yeah.
And there's not necessarily like cursing and extreme violence, even though there is.
But there's the racism.
Racism is a big part of it. There's some gnarly sexual stuff. Like it's.
I mean, okay, I get that there's no demon rape in the movie.
Yeah,
there could have been demon rape.
That's fine.
You could rape Idris Elba. You don't rape Jake, but you rape Idris. Like you let the demon have his way. You know.
Yeah. Also, it's Roland's story. It's not Jake's story. It's Roland's story. It's not Jake's story.
Right. And yes, absolutely. The book is about Roland's journey. Sorry. As I was saying earlier, though, the whole point is him going to the Dark Tower, thinking that he can seek the power to reverse all the bad that has happened. Because the Dark Tower is the infinite energy of the universe that has everything. It can grant me my wish to bring all these people back and restore the world to the way it was. And that literally has nothing to do with the movie. It's just we have to protect it so the universe doesn't get eaten by monsters. Okay, so our camera got overheated and we got cut off, and I don't remember where we were. You were talking about stuff that's in the book, so we're just going to move on to the next subject, I guess.
Yeah.
I only have my notes here.
I only have like one last thing I really want to talk about for Dark Tower, so whatever it is you have to say.
We kind of mentioned the nods to the other movies. I just want to say, so there was the Pennywise theme park ride. One of the codes for the portals was 1408, which, okay, if the code is 1408 and it's going to New York, I think it was in New York, whatever, why did it not end up in the hotel room?
I know, right?
If you're really going to fucking on the nose, like, go full with it. Obviously, The Shining, he has the shine. You said Christine, there was a toy car, which it might be some other thing.
It could also be a reference to Hearts in Atlantis.
Just the point, it's not cute. The winks and the nods and the homages are just like I said, it feels like a college student who's like, second-year college student who's doing a film is like, I'm going to put a guy in an orange vest because I like Back to the Future. Like, I read Stephen King too. Look at all my... No one cares, dude. Just make a movie. The beam quakes are in the book. They happen in the book when a beam falls.
They don't even know what beams are. I mean, they don't...
Oh, yeah, they do. No beams, explanation of the beams.
There are no beams. No, there are no beams in this movie. There aren't any.
You see them.
No.
You do see the tower, and you see the intersecting...
maps, and he makes the little map in the ground.
So they literally show you visuals where... And I guess you could say, like, oh, this is for the fans.
Yeah.
But, like, you see visual as something that never was explained.
It's certainly not ever treated with any kind of importance like it is in the books.
And like we said, you're like, oh, it's too much information for a regular audience. The idea that every beam had an animal associated with it, so it would have things like Chinese calendar, like you're the rat, you're the things. Like it could be useful.
Again, Dark Tower was weird. You keep making your way. You get rewarded in book 3 with a giant cyborg bear named Shardik.
Yeah.
With a big satellite on top of its head.
I mean, I guess that's okay not to be in there, but it would instead of the demon and the thing, you could have had which actually is Smokey the Bear.
Yeah.
Which is where again the crossing of parallel universes being like that bear gets mad because they think they're lighting fires.
Yeah.
So it's Smokey the Bear. Like it's just
army of Dr. Dooms later and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, just the idea that like in Wizard and Glass, like they speak Spanish.
Yeah.
Like that travels over between. I mean, obviously they speak English because.
Right.
There's no Susanna sex demon. There's no sex demons at all.
No.
Because there's multiple sex demons in the book.
Yeah.
There's no Mordred. There's no spider baby, which, I mean, you think, like, with CGI, like, that's the easy thing to do. You're like, baby with spider legs. Have him crawl up a wall and be scary. I mean, I dressed when my first son was born, that in June or whatever, he was however many months old in Halloween, he wore a spider outfit and had a sign that says, I'm a hungry. This is my favorite thing about and it's not even in there at all. The Tower Bookstore. There's Tower Records had a bookstore called...
There's 2 billion things that aren't in it.
Right, but
like, the Mob's not in it, Eddie's not in it, Suzanne's not in it. I mean,
but the big things are like, these are things that...
You mean they should just have at least been in the background or,
something, or at least like Jake could have gone to a bookstore at some point and it would have been like... Could have been named, because it's named, man, I think it's...
He could have gone in there to get a map to figure out how to get around Brooklyn. So
like a Goonies map. No, it is it called Tower? It's like, isn't it like Manhattan Tower or something like that?
Yeah, I think so.
Either way, like it could at least been in there. He could have been in there doing research or something like that. Like there's just, there's so many things stripped out that don't need to be, like, I like Jurassic Park, the book, a lot. I really like it separate from the movie. I like the movie too, but I mean, I really like the book and I like that they're very separate. You read the book and you go, okay, I see why they made the movie the way it is. It's whatever. This doesn't, that's, okay, sex demons, raping, I get it, that's out. Stephen King, he's not in it, I get it, it's out. Eddie and Susanna, there's more characters, I get it, they're out. But just, why are you just taking out stuff and replacing it with nothing? If you're going to put something in it, It could have been one of the things from the book. This means nothing. This means something. You could have put the something in the nothing, whatever. They put the Dixie pig in, which is where they go at the very end to save him. Like, they named it after it the same. Put more stuff in there. Put more. A little more. Just a little more.
Like, enough with the Stephen King references. How about the Dark Tower references?
Right. And my last one is the Man in Black gets killed by Roland in the way that we said, and it's not a big deal. Like, it's supposed to be like, oh, I did it, right? It's kind of like, whoo, got that done with. I can go to the rest. In the books, the Man in Black is fucking powerful. He's arrogantly powerful. He does whatever and this and that, and he finally runs into Mordred, who's a baby spider thing, and he thinks, oh, yeah, you're strong, whatever. And then he like gets hit. I don't remember exactly what happens, but I remember he gets hit and he goes like, oh shit, like, I need to get out of here. This thing's pretty strong. And then he's leaving. I was like, oh, fuck. Oh no, this thing is gonna eat me and kill me.
It's a great comeuppance scene.
Because, I mean, it's literally 7, that might happen in book 6. I don't remember exactly, but it's basically the whole series of this guy who's a sorcerer and he's strong and he has all these things and he's chasing him and he's the epitome, I gotta reach him, and then the Dark Tower, they're gonna be interconnected, and he gets his. Again,
not very PG-13, because Mordred, psychic baby spider, says, bend down here, please.
That's what it was,
and
yeah.
Says, give me your tongue. And so he has to stick his tongue out and he eats it, and he can't do anything about it.
Right. And he's conscious the whole time, knowing that he can't stop him.
Give me your eyes.
Eyeballs, yes.
Thank you. And that's just what's happening. Like, everything that Walter's doing in the movie, where he's just like making people do things, that's what's being done to him.
Yeah.
But in the most grotesque, like, awful, skin crawling fashion.
Yeah, I don't remember every detail, but I remember it being one of those things where it's great because it turned the tables on the guy who for so long has been the penultimate bad guy in a way.
We are terrible people, because actually the number one thing not included, like beyond all these things, is the Dark Tower mascot. Oi.
Yeah, well.
No fucking Billy Bumblers.
Yeah.
You just sell the toys and the stuffed animals and the fucking T-shirts.
I was gonna go back to the Kevin Smith thing about the Superman needs like a buddy.
Yeah.
Because we need to sell toys. I went, how did you not put in a dog, basically?
There's a super adorable dog raccoon in the series that it's sort of like a parrot. It can kind of like talk a little bit. And it's super loyal, and it's a character along with the rest of the thing, and it's awesome.
It sacrifices itself to save Roland.
That's what made me think about it, because like they like feed the Mordred a Billy Bumblr like a little baby one. It's like super sad.
And I do remember crying when I read that, because it's like a dog person. But like, again, like, you want the audience to. You see a cute little dog raccoon, you're gonna go, oh, he's bonding with Jake. The boy has his dog.
Goes, ache. It's cute. He goes, Olan.
Yeah.
Instead of Roland.
There's nothing in this that has any depth.
Yeah.
Anything to make you care. I mean, there's a lot of things. I mean, again, they left a lot of things out, but I'm trying to think of like things that had no reason to be taken out.
Yeah.
I seeing the Man in Black die at the hands of this other monster, and then Roland have to either fight that or something would have been. I think it would have been a good twist at the end to go like, oh, you thought he was strong, this thing fucking wiped him out, But I just got shot with the bullets, the ricocheting bullets, and
so
there goes my phone.
I just want to say, and I won't spend a long time on this, just some of the things, just kind of, I guess, fan wink, like wishing like what they had done this instead of what they did. I understand like they didn't want to spend a lot of money on this because it's a big risk and it's a weird property, and you don't know how people are going to react to it.
Surprising for a big fantasy epic, $60 million budget.
Yeah.
That's extremely low, so I see why some of this stuff.
I wish they would have cut that budget in half and just made a low-key Western, which is what the first book is. And there's things they could have cut it. They could have cut out the
You just
Slum
want
Mutants.
Bone Tomahawk with the...
Kinda. I mean, Bone Tomahawk was made in way less than $60 million, and you could have done that.
Basically, you could have taken that big first section of the book when he's in the town, and there's the preacher, and he uses the gun to baby thing. Maybe not that part.
I mean, you don't need to do that part. But you do want to show Roland gunning down an entire townsfolk full of people.
Right.
That shows how awesome he is with his guns and how horrifying it is what he will do to get to what he needs to do.
Because they're all innocent people who can't seem to...
They get whipped up into a friend. It's magic.
It happens in the gun store in the movie where the guy starts shooting the shotgun and he goes, "It's not me!" And he's like, "Don't shoot me," you know?
Right.
That's basically the whole town has to
But
try
instead
to
of in the movie, where he tries to avoid it and then think of a way to disarm him, no, Roland shoots the fuck out of everybody in the town. Also, if you don't want to do that, fine, because people hate Westerns, fuck it. There's a rich backstory when Roland's young, when Midworld's still alive and Gilead's still around.
Which is supposed to be what the TV series is going to be.
Fine, but like that, you could have done that too. You could have shown him get his guns. You could have seen his mother kill his father. You could have seen Martin be the bad guy, and then have
again, we're talking
being a bad guy.
It's a 95-minute movie with a long credit sequence, I think. So it was like not the hour and a half, maybe. I remember looking at the clock and I left and I went, that wasn't even an hour and a half, I don't think. But then again, I kind of missed the beginning. Just add 10 minutes to the movie, throw in the scene of his mother and his dad. How his dad dies, how he kills his mom as a flashback. You know, that takes a couple of minutes.
Yeah.
Throw in the scene, like, you know, you mentioned you could have had him flashback real fast, shooting a bunch of innocent people and him kind of like, I don't want to do that anymore. So that's why he doesn't kill. Just a couple of minutes here and there doesn't make the movie that much longer, but it just gives a little bit to make you care. I like Idris Elba. I like him a lot.
Yeah.
I like him as Roland. But only because I know who Roland is in the book, and if I didn't, I wouldn't give two shits about him in this movie.
Yeah, it's not there.
I care, like you said, it's supposed to be about Roland. Jake is the main character of the movie.
Yeah.
I care more about Jake than I do Roland.
Right, in the movie. Last thing is, I think the obvious writing.
The last thing.
Last thing is, it should not be a movie. It should be a TV show.
Yeah.
And the best version I heard of this, best idea I heard, was a guy named Scott Wampler, and he just said, have each book be a season, and have a different director do each season, so each one has its different...
let's just say after the True Detective thing, let's make sure if someone's doing it good, let them keep doing it.
Oh, that's fine. I mean, that was bad for different reasons. But so your first book, your first season, is a fucking Western. Your second book, second season, is a fucking crime. It's a crime thing with the mob family and everything. Your third one is post-apocalyptic Fallout thing. Your fourth one is
it's on a train that tells riddles.
It's a train. Your fourth one is you go back to your Western again. Fifth one is Seven Samurai.
I mean, after watching Game of Thrones now and seeing what could be done on budgets, and I mean, anything is possible. You give it enough hours of entertainment and enough good people involved. But the idea that everything's better as a TV show, I don't know.
For how much stuff there is in the Dark Tower series, I honestly think that that's the way to go.
I absolutely agree that, like, in a perfect world, that's how you have to make it. But I'm always just fearful of, like, just make a TV show. That'll fix everything. You know, I mean,
No, because there's some stuff that you can't. I think that the level of action and the level of fantasy that you're dealing with in
Dark Tower,
what I mean is, I think is attainable.
So, like what Game of Thrones is done now is like 10 episodes now, 7. You know, like there's hour episodes. Well, maybe one of them's an hour and 10 minutes, while the other one's 47. Like we don't have to be beholden to this strict thing. Just what you're telling me is basically just make a 5-hour movie.
Yeah.
But split it up into episodes. When you think of it that way, think of it instead of being a TV show with breaks or whatever it is, just think of it like, I just made a 5-hour movie, which is what you need to do to make Dark Tower. Make a 5-hour movie and just split it at parts where
I don't think you can do Dark Tower in 5 hours.
No, not the whole thing. I mean seasons.
Yeah.
Like you said, season TV show. I just think...
Oh, I see what you're saying. TV per book, like you're saying, like
TV
5 hours.
is just very... You think of it as episodic because there's like an end multiple times.
Yeah.
But the best ones don't feel like episodes. They feel like a 5 or 6 hour, or actually usually more because they're multiple episodes. You could just go one right into the other.
Right.
So just make a 5 or 6 hour movie and just call it a TV show.
Yeah.
I'd feel more, faith.
That's basically what I mean, yeah.
I think about something like Twin Peaks right now with season 3, that it's just, those are episodes.
Right.
They're disconnected from each other sometimes, but the old Twin Peaks felt like a 7 or 8 hour movie. It just kept going, and the one ended, the next one started, and it just kind of kept going. So, I don't know.
So we're really sad, and this is a bummer, and whatever,
really
you just gotta
sad.
move on with life, and I hope you'll check out the books if this is like,
now that we told you everything that happens.
Some people, whatever. We've perked your interest up at all. If you're looking for just a really, really good everything that we just said series, definitely check it out. Don't see this movie if you're not already like a Dark Tower fan.
And if you are a Dark Tower fan, go see it because
it's
it's
bad.
bad.
Be part of the conversation.
I made him go see it because I wanted to see it regardless. I needed to know how bad it was. It was not bad, or it was bad. I said, you need to go see it, and maybe we can talk about it. I think the point which I wanted to get across is that it's not this like, I'm going to be a critic and I'm going to shit on this movie. It's like, no, I'm going to come from a point of view as a fan going, man, you fucked up a good opportunity.
Yeah. It's just singing the blues. That's all. Like I said, it was my turn. It was our turn.
Yeah.
Everybody gets a turn.
But then it's coming next month, and that for me, I was more excited about an It remake for a long time.
That could be your turn.
And I see that, and I'm going like, but I didn't think Dark Tower was gonna be bad. I thought I was like, oh, it's gonna be good, and it was.
I was telling my fiance, it's like I feel like I traded one great Planet of the Apes reboot for a not good Preacher TV show and a horrible Dark Tower movie, and I would trade. I'd trade away both Preacher and Planet of the Apes for
the Dark Tower.
For the Dark Tower.
Yeah. It's that weird middle ground of I don't hate it because I'm a fan. You're never going to please a fan of the books. Like that, there's those people like that who are always books always better. You just made a really
You just forgot the face of its father.
Oh my God, I forgot how many times.
The Dark Tower has fallen.
Why didn't I think about writing Dark Tower puns before I came in here?